Hi. So, yeah, I've been over 1,000 days without alcohol and it feels amazing. I really never thought I could have such clarity of mind that came from withholding from ever taking any more alcohol. And I sort of just fell into the decision. When I was in Australia, I was sort of going through all of my addictions. I was going through a very deep internal journey, which I never thought that was going to happen when I left. I never could have guessed that my journey would have played out the way it did. And I was going through all of my addictions, tobacco, smoking weed, alcohol, and so on. And it just seemed to fall off at one point. It wasn't too hard to actually stop drinking alcohol. And I used to drink quite a lot back when I was living in England. And so it just seemed very easy to get rid of this. Out of everything I tried, or everything that I have broken free from with my addictions, alcohol was one of the easiest and probably one of the most beneficial as well, because you save money and your body is much healthier. No more hangovers. I do not miss having a hangover at all. Not at all. You'd kind of lose an entire day, maybe even 2 days. At least you'd have fun on the first day, I guess. But then you lose the next day just recovering from it, and it just gets boring after a while. But hey, everyone to their own, and I truly understand that especially in the times we're in, it's good to have a good time, just to not overdo it. So yeah, and it's just like my life has just gotten progressively better since I stopped drinking alcohol. And of course, there are many factors in to take into account, such as like a deep meditation practice and qigong, healthy lifestyle, and general exercise, all of those things. But that's just one extra little piece of the puzzle, which was to stop drinking alcohol. And I can actually remember when I was in New Zealand, I was confronted with a social situation where every other time I would have been drinking at least a little bit. And it was like a small gathering at the current Helpex that I was staying at. It was a birthday of the daughter of one of the friends of my Helpex host. And he had a bunch of people around, and he had a nice sound system and a pool table. And yeah, it was a really good atmosphere, but I felt so uncomfortable because I didn't have anything in my hand, nothing to drink. And it was really, really weird at first. That entire night, something just didn't quite feel right at all. And especially playing pool, like it was so natural to just have a glass of beer or a drink of any alcoholic kind just whilst playing pool. It was just part of the game, and it was really weird. And I actually felt I played worse because I didn't have a drink, probably because I wasn't anywhere near as relaxed as usual. And yeah, so that was an interesting experience. But now, after maybe one or two more situations like that, I am a lot more confident in social situations without alcohol, and I enjoy it a lot more actually. Unless it is like a party and everyone else is getting smashed. There's like a couple of hours. You got this golden hours where people are sort of relaxing a bit and they start opening up. But then it gets too far and people just get too drunk and you end up repeating conversations, or conversations just are not interesting anymore. It's just sort of everything takes a nosedive, and at that point you may as well just dance because the talking's become pretty boring, or just leave. So if you are debating or considering stopping drinking alcohol, you have to remember take into account that you might find certain things boring after not being drunk. So be aware of that. Also, my social circle completely changed, especially when I stopped smoking weed as well. And the kinds of people that I would hang out with in general really did change, and especially when I come back home after my travels, I really didn't relate to a lot of my friends anymore. It was kind of sad in many ways because I didn't do all of the things that we used to have this common bond with. But it showed me also that some of my friends, all we had in common was just either hanging around smoking weed or getting on the party scene. So you may end up thinning out your social circle if you stop drinking alcohol. But I think that can be a good thing, because one, you can serve on as an example. I got some very interesting reactions when I was telling my friends how long I had been off of alcohol and weed and all of these things. So you can serve as an example, but then you'll find other friends who also resonate with where you are on your journey. And there's nothing wrong with cutting people out of your life if they're not, resonating with you anymore. Or sometimes it just happens naturally, and your timelines diverge, and then you never see them again. And that can be hard sometimes, but I think it's actually very necessary for anyone who wishes to be serious about personal development and spiritual progression, is to be a lot more selective of who you hang out with, who your friends are, and what you do with your friends and when you are with them. Now, I'd much rather, instead of going to the pub for a pint, I'd rather just go for a walk in nature and talk with a person or people, just have an in-depth, interesting conversation, see what's going on in their mind, see what we can come out of the conversation, and hopefully we both leave better than where we started. And now that, for me, is so much more rewarding, interesting, and even exciting, as opposed to just going out and getting drunk. But now, saying that, every now and then I still love dancing, and I still love music, and so I still occasionally will go out and find some good music to dance to, but now I just do it completely sober. And that's the thing, I have to really like the music, because now it's not like I can just get really drunk and the music doesn't matter so much, because I'm just really, the music's like the last thing I can really enjoy out of the whole party atmosphere, other than people, of course. So I have to really like the music, but if I do, I can still have a great time dancing, socializing. I actually did an experiment with the last event I went to, where I took alpha-lipoic acid, R-alpha-lipoic acid, at constant intervals for every 2 or 3 hours, and I felt incredible. I had so much energy to dance. It was kind of like when I used to take ecstasy, but without the ridiculously buzzed up high, but just cut everything out from the high end, just the consistent, unlimited energy. And that was great. I had a brilliant night. That night actually ended when I got back to the hostel, and it was in Ireland actually, and the owner of the hostel had just come back as well. He was quite drunk. He was quite entertaining though. He was a good drunk. He had lots of funny stories. It wasn't just boring stories either. They were actually very interesting. And he goes, "Do you want to start a fire?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure." There's a few other Irish lads around. I don't know, it's maybe 2 o'clock at night at this point. And we had a great chat around the fire. And even there was one guy who did beatboxing, and I do rap music. So he started creating a beat, and I'm rapping to it. And it was awesome. We created this amazing thing, and all of this was done without alcohol. I still had a great time. So it's definitely possible. I mean, I've even gone to an entire festival completely sober. I remember in New Zealand I went to a festival, nothing at all, just music. I just danced and danced and danced, and it was great. So in my opinion, you don't need alcohol or drugs to have a good time in a party atmosphere. But I used to think that. I used to think it was almost impossible, especially with electronic music. I thought, how could you ever dance to this sober? But now I realised, I think actually I was just uncomfortable dancing sober. I think that was a big part of it. I used to be very uncomfortable with that. But now I'm comfortable with that, and it's sort of hand in hand of being more comfortable with my body. And so now I'm comfortable being sober in a party atmosphere dancing. So they're just, some of the experiences I've had from not drinking alcohol anymore. And in every way, I think it's been a positive thing in my life. So if what I'm saying interests you, then maybe you should try it. But I do also think that a little bit every now and then doesn't do any harm. And in this world, unless you are going to be serious about personal development and spiritual progression, which I would highly recommend, but if otherwise, we have to have some way of relaxing and getting rid of some of the stress that a lot of us carry around. So, a little bit of alcohol wouldn't hurt. And, everyone's different. For me, it also just stopped agreeing with me as well, So it just sort of faded out of my reality. But for some people, it's alright. So I think it's also important, if you are going to enjoy alcohol for however long you wish to do so, to just not, be wrapped up in guilt about it and be ashamed about it. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy this life, really, because we need more people actually enjoying themselves. Not too far, don't take it too far, but just actually enjoying this life, having a good time, appreciating it. Because it's a pretty interesting time to be alive. It's a pretty tough time to be alive in many ways, so we have to make the best of it in the ways we can. So each to their own, but I just share my experience and what has worked for me and what I would recommend. Yes, my wallet is healthier, I am healthier, my mind is healthier, my body is healthier, and I feel all around better for it, but each to their own. So I just thought I'd give my experience on this situation, and that'll be all for this one, and I'll see you next time, guys. Goodbye.